And so it brings home these truths in a very personal way. And the Catechism, doing that personally, leaves no room for us to be proud or arrogant about what we know, about our knowledge. Yes, we may be well taught, but that ought only to increase our humility and affect us in that way. You know about the sinfulness of man. Well, that's about you. And so the Word of God wants truth to be personal. Well, this evening we're going to look at it at the first question, or the first Lord's Day of the Catechism, under the theme, My Only Comfort. What is thy only comfort in life and death? Our theme will be My Only Comfort. And let's notice three things. First, what it is. Second, why it is comforting. And then third, in what it results. What does it produce in our lives? We need comfort. It's necessary. What are your fears? What are your pains? What are your anxieties? Maybe it's a fear of something physical to do with your health. Maybe it's a fear because of something in your relationships. Maybe it's a fear because of something financial. Maybe it's a pain. Maybe an ongoing physical pain. Maybe a spiritual pain, a pain of soul. Maybe it's the pain of loss or of separation, of loneliness. Or maybe even deeper than this, it's a pain and a misery that comes to you because of your sin. You fear because of the power of sin. You're troubled because of the guilt of sin. You tremble because you live before a holy and a just God. We read about some of those things as the psalmist in Psalm 25 talks about his afflictions and his troubles in life. In Psalm 25, verse 16, he says, Turn thou unto me and have mercy upon me, for I am desolate and afflicted, empty and going through trials and troubles in my life. What was his troubles? He says, The troubles of my heart are enlarged, or bring thou me out of my distresses. Look upon my affliction and my pain, and forgive all my sins. In Psalm 34, the psalmist says, Many are the afflictions of the righteous. God's people need comfort. And there's a sense in which this is a universal need. Everybody needs comfort. Everybody has fears and pains and troubles. And the question is, what, in the midst of the troubles and the pains of your life, what is your only comfort? What comes to your mind? What's the answer to your fears? What do you cling to? What's the rock? What's the thing that gives you peace in the midst of the troubles and the anxieties that you face in your life? And you see, even though it's true that everybody needs comfort, as you look around, you find out that very few have a comfort that actually meets their needs. Some, when they are faced with this question, what is comfort? They say, well, comfort is when things in my life are going very well for me. I have what I want. I have good health. I have good relationships. I have enough to live. There are no problems in my life. So I have comfort. Others say, well, comfort is this, that I have the ability in the troubles of my life to disconnect myself from them. They don't really affect me. I can distance myself from them. I have a will that's stronger than the troubles that come my way. Or someone else in the question of the face of in face of this question, what is comfort, will say, well, every trouble and every trial that we have has some good in it. There's a silver lining in every cloud. There's always something to smile about, something good that will come out of the troubles that I go through in my life. Or others, looking at their life, feel destitute and empty. And so they say, I need something else. And they turn to drugs or liquor or something like that. What is thy only comfort? Where do you turn? What comes to your mind? You see, this is a question that forces us to answer and to look at our lives and answer concerning our faith. And so many people will try to escape this question. What is your comfort? The Catechism says, for life and death, for body and soul. And people will say, don't talk about such things. I don't want to hear about death, just talk about life. I don't want to hear about the soul, just talk about my body and physical comforts. I'm happy with the present. I don't want to think beyond life and the body. Leave me alone. What is your only comfort? The question is disturbing. It's somewhat inquisitive. It's personal. It's like the elders coming to your house on family visitation and asking everyone a pointed question. And that's where we sit this morning. What is your only comfort? But you see, it's these things that might disturb us that make this question so important. When you have troubles and trials and afflictions in life, what is your comfort? If you lose a child in death, if the doctor says you have cancer, if your house and your possessions burn to the ground and you lose everything, if you lose your job, if you lose all your assets, if your business goes bankrupt, if there's war and turmoil and you're forced to flee, if there's disaster and with it death and disease, what then? What is your only comfort? You see, it goes beyond our personal capacity then to cope with a circumstance. What then is your strength? What then is your stay and comfort? And so, we need to admit that we need comfort. But the answer that's given is also very personal. The feeling, the sense, not just a feeling, but the sense, the knowledge of need, that's personal. But then also the answer is personal. What's your only comfort? And you see, there's only one thing. There's only one thing that can give comfort. And that's because there's one thing that's common to all the pain and the suffering that we experience, that humans experience. And that one thing that's common to all of it is the misery of our sin. Our pains and troubles may not result directly from a sin, but they're always a reminder of the fact that we live in a sinful world. And there's only one thing that can answer. What is your only comfort? This is how the answer begins. I am not my own. Now, the natural man doesn't want to say that. He wants to say, I am my own. I can stand alone. My body is mine. My soul is my business. It's not your business. If this or that makes me happy and gives me joy in life, that's my business. I am my own. That's the way man stands and rises up before God in the gospel. He wants liberty, he says, or what he thinks is liberty. But you see, that person who says, I am my own, is in bondage. He's in bondage to sin. And the greatest threat to a person's comfort is that he in pride says, I am my own, that he declares his independence. But the natural man will say, I am my own.